Hello friends, welcome back to another exciting episode of our Laravel interview preparation series. I'm Umesh Rana and you are watching Programming Fields. In today's video, we are going to explore a crucial aspect of Laravel development, that is blade templating. We will answer the question, what is blade templating in Laravel and how does it work? So here is what we will cover today. What is blade templating? Understanding the blade templating syntax. We will use directives for control flow, and also we will extend layouts for consistency. We will create sub view and that we can reuse that. Also, we will see how we can escape Laravel Blade syntax for security purpose. Alright, let's kick things off with the basics. What is blade templating in Laravel? So, blade templating is a templating engine that comes bundled with Laravel. This is inbuilt templating engine that Laravel provides. And basically it is used to design for creating the views of your web applications. This simplifies the process of working with views and allows you to create dynamic, reusable and clean templates for your web applications. Furthermore, this is a lightweight and powerful tool that helps you separate the logic of your application from its presentation. If you would remember, in PHP, generally we mix HTML with PHP in order to write any functionality and display to user. So blade templates are basically plain text files with a .blade.php extensions. That means if you want to create a blade file in Laravel, you have to add .blade.php extension, and it allows you to mix HTML and blade directives together. Now let's understand the blade syntax, like how it works and how you can use it in Laravel. So blade templating uses a straightforward and readable syntax instead of cluttered PHP mixed with HTML. Here blade offers a more elegant way to write your templates. The blade templates use double curly braces to echo or display data within your HTML views. Generally in PHP, we use echo to display any message or variable, but here instead of that echo, you can simply put double curly braces. For example, if you want to display a username, you can simply use double curly braces $name. So in this blade file, it will be replaced with the user's name when the view is rendered. For instance, instead of writing open PHP if condition, in blade you can simply use if condition. This makes your template cleaner and easier to maintain. So to understand this blade directives and blade syntax better, let's move to the code snippet and we will see in the practical way. Alright, so I'm here in the terminal and now I'm going to open this project in VS Code editor. So here I have already created one Laravel application. If you don't have, then you can create that. So let me quickly open this in VS Code editor. Okay, so here the project is opened in VS Code editor. Now let's take a look at this folder structure here. So here we have this resources folder inside this project, and this is available in this root of this project folder. So inside this resources, you will have this views folder. So by default, there will be one welcome blade file. So here when you will run this application, PHP artisan serve, then you will able to see this homepage, localhost 8000. So this is the welcome blade file here, and this comes with Laravel by default when you will install this Laravel application. So now here we will create a new blade file in order to see like how we can create and how we will able to render the blade syntax. So simply right click here and create a new file, and here you have to put your blade file name. So let's say this is homepage.blade.php. That's it. And here this blade file is created. Here basically this is a PHP file, but it allows you to write HTML along with PHP. So let's say something like hello, this is blade file. That's it. Now we have to render this view. So in order to render this view in Laravel, either you have to include this in controller or directly you can include this in route. So we will see these both ways to render this blade file in Laravel. So firstly, let's see how we will able to render this blade file in controller. So inside this app folder, we will have HTTP and then controllers folder. So here by default, there is only one controller that comes with Laravel installation. So now here we will create a new controller using the artisan command. So in the terminal, I will hit enter PHP artisan make colon controller and the controller name, that is homepage controller. So here controller is created. Now let's quickly come to this code editor, and here we have this controller. If you are not familiar with the controllers, then you can check out my previous video in which I have explained controllers, different types of controller with the practical. So you can check out that video. I will put that link in the description box. So now let's come to this controller, and initially you will have to create one function just like index. Okay, here in order to render that view, you will have to write return, and here Laravel provides view function. Inside this view, you will have to pass that blade name. So let's say here we have the blade name homepage. So inside this view function, it will automatically render this homepage.blade.php file. Here you don't require to put that blade.php extension along with this file name. Only it requires this file name. So that's it. Now here, in order to execute this controller function, you will require a route. So now let's quickly come to this route folders, and here inside this routes folder, let me remove these all, and here I will just create one route colon get, and here let's say this is homepage, and inside this homepage we will include the controller that we have created as homepage controller. Yes, so here you will have to import this at this very top. So here you will have to write the namespace, that is app http controllers, and here we have this homepage controller. So that's it. Now inside this route we have defined this endpoint as homepage, and inside this array of braces, here you have to put this controller name as homepage controller, and then colon class, and in the second parameter you will have to put that function name that we have created in homepage controller. So we have created this function with the name index. So in the route folder, here in the second parameter you will have to pass that function name as index. All right, so now come to the browser, and here you will have to navigate to this endpoint, and this is coming from blade file. This message is rendered. Now let's quickly come to this code again, and here we will display some variable, like how Laravel Blade allows you to render variable. Currently we have rendered one HTML element inside heading. Now here we will use blade syntax. So here Laravel allows double curly braces to display any variable or message. What we will do, we will simply put this message, or we will wrap this message in double curly braces. So inside these double curly braces we will have to pass this message in a string format, and now let's refresh this. The output is same, nothing changed. Okay, so here this is the blade syntax that allows you to display or write any message inside this HTML element. Now we will come to this controller, and from here we will pass one dynamic variable, and inside that variable we will pass some message, and that variable will be captured in the blade file. Okay, so here what we will have to do, we'll have to define one variable like greetings, and here we will push one message, hey, welcome to Laravel tutorial. That's it. Now in order to pass this variable to the view file, we'll have to pass one parameter inside this view function after this blade file. So here Laravel provides one function, that is compact. So inside this compact you can pass this variable, or either you can pass in the form of array. So let's say if you will use compact, and here in the form of string this variable should be passed just like this. Alright, so now if you will come to the blade, now let me just copy this here, and what I will do, I will just remove this static message, and I will capture that variable, that is greetings, and this is coming from the controller. So now let's put $greetings. Alright, so now if you will refresh this page, here we have passed variables from controller to the view. So this is the first way to pass variables from the controller. If you have more than one variable, then you can pass inside this in comma separated, just like, let me create another variable here. This is message, hey, this is a test message, and here you will have to pass second variable, second parameter if you have, just like this. So here this variable will be passed in string format. All right, so now also you will able to get that. So let me just duplicate this line, and here I will just change this with message. Okay, so now you will able to see these two variables passed from the controller. Okay, so now if you want to display the same variable in single line in blade file, then how you will write this? You can concatenate here just like $message. Okay, let me remove this, and here you will able to concatenate this using PHP syntax. If you want to put any space, then you can simply pass this, and if you refresh, you can see this displayed in single line. Alright, now let's come to the controller again, and here we will see the second way to display or to pass variable from controller to the view. So here as of now we used Laravel inbuilt function, that is compact, and this compact will render these variables automatically. So now in the second way, what we will do, we will create one array, and inside that array we will pass that key with variable name. So let me remove this compact as of now, and here we will just create one array, and here we will use associative array, and we will pass this greetings, and inside this message we will pass that message variable just like this, and here this array will be closed. Right, now let's come to the browser again. If you refresh it, the result is same, nothing changed. Okay, so this is the way here you can pass variables to the view file, and here in the view file you can capture like this way. Now we will move to the next point, that is Blade Directives. So Laravel uses Blade Directives for control flow. So Blade templating uses directives to embed PHP code within your HTML templates. Now what this directive is exactly in Laravel? So Laravel provides directives, that means a short code to implement functionality to use syntax just like if syntax, if else, any conditional statement, switch case statement, and many more. These are the short codes that Laravel provides in order to use with Blade templates. Now let's quickly move to the code snippet. So we will use these Blade directives in order to put some condition like if, else, and any conditional statement. So let's take a look at some common directives. So here, in order to use these Blade directives, what we will do here, we will create one variable, and based on that we will put condition, and we will write conditional rendering. So here let me define one variable, that is count, and here the initial value is, let's suppose, 10. Okay, so now we will just pass this count as here, and we will capture that count variable. Alright, so now what I will do, I will simply put one condition like if count is less than 10, then I want to display this greeting and message. Okay, so here I will have to write if condition. So Laravel provides directive like @if here, and I want to access that count variable, and here inside this I can write condition like if count is less than 10, just like this. Alright, then here inside this if I want to render this, and there will be closing and if statement. So as of now I have given this variable value count is 10. Okay, and here I have added this condition if count is less than 10, then this will be rendered. Now let's quickly come to the browser, and here if I will refresh, then here this is not rendering because that condition is not satisfied, because this count variable is 10 and here I have added less than 10. Okay, so instead of this less than, I can write less than or equals to again, and if I will refresh it, then here this is rendered. Okay, so now let me just remove this equals to. Okay, and here what I will do, I will write one else condition also. So Laravel provides @else directive. Here we can display any else block message just like h1 not found. Currently it goes inside this else block. So this is here if and else block. Also, if you have more than one condition, and if you want to write some conditional statement more than one, then you can simply write else if block just like else and if, and here you can write condition just like else if count equals 10. Okay, then here and here we will display this count as h1 just like this. Okay, if I will refresh, then here it displayed count is 10. So similar to this if-else-if statement, Laravel provides other Blade directives that includes loop, switch statement, and operators just like relational, conditional operator, and many more things. So let's see how you can use the loop statement in Laravel Blade. So here I will just note down the directives that Laravel Blade provides, just like @4. This is for loop statement, and here the next we will have while for using while loop statement, and there will be for each. So the opening syntax will be for, and there will be and for. So in between these you have to put your looping iteration. Similarly, this is for while, and you will have to write closing statement as and while. Also for each statement you will have to write and for each. Okay, and Laravel provides one another interesting looping directives, that is for else. Okay, so inside this you can check if your array or collection is empty, and then you can write this between. So this for else statement will allow you to check if your collection or array is empty, then you can write that in empty blocks. So it will render automatically the empty message as well. So we will see these all important looping directives here. So let's say if we want to execute one loop using this for loop, then here you will have to write for. So let's say $I equals 0 and $I less than $count, because we already defined $count variable with initial value 10. Okay, and here this will be I plus plus. All right, and there will be end for statement just like this, and in between this statement you can just print any of your HTML element or whatever you want to render. So as of now I just want to print $I, and here also we will just put one message value of $I equals just like this. Okay, here let me just go to the browser, and if I will refresh now, okay, so here it printed in a single line. So what we can do, we can wrap this in on heading tag just like this. All right, and now if you'll refresh, here it displayed the value of I inside this for loop. Now let's say how we can use while loop in Laravel Blade. Here we will write this syntax as @while, and inside this we will put some condition just like count is less than equals 10. Okay, and inside this we will just put and while. Okay, and here we will just display this count. Okay, and next, in order to iterate this while loop, we have to increment this value of count. Okay, in between this while and while directive, here you will have to increment the value of $count variable. Okay, so here inside this Blade syntax we have to use PHP syntax as well. Okay, so here you will have to write this PHP and end PHP, because Laravel Blade supports PHP syntax as well. So here in Laravel Blade, if you need to write any PHP syntax like just variable declaration kind of thing, then you can use this @PHP, and here in between this opening and PHP closing tag you can define anything. This is similar to your open PHP and end PHP. Okay, so now let's use this here, and here we will just increment this value of count plus plus. That's it. Okay, now let's come to the browser, and here if you will refresh, yes, here we got this count value of 10. Okay, so here this is the use of while directive here inside Blade file. Now let's move to the next directive, that is for each. So this for each loop will be used only when you have array and nested array kind of thing, then inside that you can use this for each. Okay, so let's see. Before this, let's create one variable data here, kind of fruits kind of array. Okay, and here there will be name apple and quantity, just like I will put just 12. Okay, and here I will just replicate this multiple times. Okay, and here there will be one final closing array. Okay, that's it. Now you can pass banana and 28, and here there will be orange. Yeah, that's it. So here we have defined one array of fruits. This is our associative array here. So I will pass that array. I will pass this array in this compact function so that I can access this in Blade file. So now in order to use this for each loop, just you'll have to write this for each. Okay, and here we have defined this fruits array as $fruit. Okay, and there will be end for each statement. This is fine, and in between here and here we can display fruit and then fruit name, because we have defined that in array. And now let me wrap this in one heading tag h1. Okay, now let's quickly move out to the browser, and if you will refresh here, yes, here we got this array. Okay, so similarly you can print that quantity as well, just like name is this, and here you can pass quantity. Okay, and in another curly braces you have to write this fruit quantity. Okay, now if you'll refresh, then here we got this result. Alright, so now here we have used this for each statement. Now there is one for else. So this for else statement will be used only when you are not sure like there will be data in that array. Then instead of checking count before iterating that variable, you can use this for else statement. So this for else statement will initially check if there is count of that array, and then it will iterate that array. Okay, so now let's come to this controller, and here let's see if I don't have this fruits as of now. Okay, and here now if I will try to execute this statement, here it printed nothing. Okay, but now I want to check if counts of this fruits array is 0, then I want to display one message. In order to do that, I will have to check count. If count of fruits is greater than 0, then this will come inside this for each statement, else I will display one message. Okay, no fruits found. Okay, and there will be end if statement. Now let me comment these above lines. Okay, so now if I will refresh this, this is showing no fruits found. This is fine. Okay, but now if we don't want to use this if else check before iterating this for each statement, then we can use this for else. Okay, so now let's see how we can use this. So simply I will just copy these lines here, and here I will just write for else. Okay, and here you have to just remove these lines just like this, and here you'll have to write empty. Okay, and inside this empty the message will be same, and here you will have to close this and for else. All right, so now here inside this empty block it will automatically check if the count of this fruits array is 0, then it will print this message. Okay, now refresh this page, you can see the result is same. Okay, now let's understand the difference between these two statements. So here in this first statement we have checked count first, and then we have iterated the fruits array. But here in this second statement we have used this for else statement, and here we have just iterated fruits data, and here in this empty block we have printed this message, that is no fruits found. Alright, so this will make more clean and easy to check if you have count of array, and then you don't need to add separate if else check here. So these are the looping statement here. So in order to understand these Blade directives here, you can simply visit to the official documentation of Laravel website here, and inside this documentation you can simply search for Blade templates. Alright, so here inside this Blade, so there are different Blade directives here provided by Laravel. You can just check out this documentation as Blade directives. So here you have if else if statement and many more things, switch statement, loops. So we have covered these things. Now let's discuss about Blade layout. So Laravel Blades also supports layout inheritance, which is incredibly useful for maintaining consistency in design across your application. So here you can create a master layout, and that master layout can be extended in different views. That means you can simply extend that layout in different view, and you can pass data to that view dynamically. Okay, so now let's quickly move out to this example here, so that we will create one master layout and we will extend that master layout in a different view. Okay, so come to the editor again. So now I'm just going to create one more Blade file that will be our master Blade. So here I will give master.blade.php, and I'm just going to import that bootstrap CDN snippet here, bs5. So I already have that extension in VS Code. Okay, so I have included this bootstrap CDN as of now, and let me give this title to Laravel Blade. Okay, so as of now, let me quickly remove these things here. This is not required as of now, and yes. Okay, so inside this body tag, I will simply create one div that will be our container. Okay, and inside this container I will just use this yield directive. So inside this yield I will have to pass one key that will work as a variable kind of thing. Not it is a variable, but just a placeholder content. And here I will just extend this blade in our homepage blade. Okay, so now as of now, let me just remove these all things, and here I will just write extends, and then I will give that blade name as master. Okay, and here just for passing dynamic content, just for extending this layout, instead of this content I will have to pass that section and content, and here there will be end section. Okay, so now in between this section I can pass anything, I can write anything, and that will be automatically placed in between this body tag. Okay, so now let's see if I will pass any h1. Okay, this is extended layout. Okay, now let's come to the browser, and now if you'll refresh it, you can see here this is extended. If you will inspect it and if you will see the source code, then here this head and inside this body, here this container contain one h1 tag. Okay, so this is master blade. Here in this master blade you can pass anything dynamic from a different view. So if you want to pass this title as a dynamic title, then here you can just put this yield and title. Okay, and this title will contain a dynamic title here. So from a different view we can just pass this dynamic title. Okay, we already extended this master blade in the home page. So from here, just after this extends master layout, here we can again use this section. Okay, and inside this section title we have to pass this is home page. Okay, and here you can just use end section. Refresh it, and if you will see here this home page is displaying. Now come to the page source, and if you will refresh it, so you can see here instead of title this is coming home page. So if you have n number of web page in your web application, then you can make everything dynamic using this way. So after creating this header blade file, let's quickly come to the browser, and here what I will do, I will create a simple bootstrap navigation bar. So here I will search this, and let me just copy this first one. Okay, and now inside this header blade file I will just paste this. Okay, and here we don't require this drop down as of now. Let me remove this quickly, and also this form search is not required. That's it. Okay, so this header is created as of now. Now we have to include this header blade file in homepage blade, so that we will able to access our navigation bar in our homepage blade. Okay, so now let's come to this homepage blade file. Okay, and here inside this section content we have to include this header component. Header blade, this will work like as a component and we can reuse it. Okay, so here you will have to use include directive. So this include directive will allow you to import or include a sub view in a main view. Okay, so here we can write common dot header. Okay, so this common is our common folder, and inside this common we have created this header blade. Okay, so now let's come to the browser, and here if you'll refresh this home page, then here we have this navigation bar, and just below this navigation we have this master blade content file. Okay, so now let's refresh this. Now in the source code you can see here displacement is just like HTML head, and inside this body tag we have this navigation, and this navigation is coming from the header blade file that is working as our component. Okay, and here this text, this h1 heading tag is coming from homepage blade file. Okay, now let's come to the code. Similarly, we can add one layout for footer blade file. Okay, so as of now, simply I will create div class footer. Okay, and here I will just write one class just like bg dark. Okay, and here I will just give one height of 100, and here I will just write some text. This is a footer text. That's it. And here in the homepage blade file, and just before this closing of end section, you'll have to import this include common.footer. All right. Now let's come to the home page, and here if you'll refresh, then you can see here this is footer text. Let me change this color to white. Text white, refresh it, and here this is a footer text. Okay, you can see here this is our home, this is our header blade, this is our footer component, and this is our home page. So similarly, you can create a number of sub views and you can use it for your reusable purpose. Now let's talk about some security paramount. So sometimes you have to prevent cross-site scripting. That generally happens. You want to render your JavaScript code, JavaScript variable in your Laravel Blade file. Okay, so in that case, if you don't want to interpret that script code through Laravel Blade file, then Laravel handles that using one directive that is called verbatim. So this directive will be used in Laravel Blade to handle content escaping by cross-site scripting attacks. This is called XSS attack. If you have ever need to render content without escaping, then you can use @verbatim directives. In Laravel, the Blade templating engine, the verbatim directive is used to instruct the Blade compiler to treat the enclosed code as raw. So it means if you want to render your script, that won't be executed and it will be just simply printed as a raw script tag. This is particularly useful when you want to display code examples or snippets in your Blade templates without Blade attempting to interpret or compile that code. So this verbatim directive is typically used when you want to display code snippets, examples, or anything that should be rendered exactly same as it appears in your Blade view. So it won't interpret it in the browser. So let's see how you can use this. Okay, so here what we will do inside this homepage Blade, I will use one directive that is called verbatim. Okay, so whatever you will write inside this verbatim directive, this will executed as a plain text, that means raw text. It won't be interpreted by PHP interpreter. Okay, so let's say if I will try to display that count variable here, and if I will come to this browser again, and if I will refresh, then you can see this double curly braces encoded count is just displayed as a plain text. All right, and if I will try to print this variable outside this verbatim, it will print our value. Okay, so this is the use of this verbatim tag. So now we are at end of the video, and here in conclusion, we found that Blade templating in Laravel is a powerful tool just for creating dynamic and user-friendly web applications. Also, it streamlines the view that generates process and makes your code more maintainable and efficient. So that's it for today's video. I hope you now have a clear understanding of Blade templating in Laravel. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video as we dive even deeper into the world of Laravel development. Until then, happy coding.